Graph y is less than or equal to x squared minus 1. So to graph a inequality that is nonlinear, the process is the same. You graph the nonlinear function as you would uh, as normal. So only thing you have to pay attention to is greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, depending on if you have that or like less than or greater than, then you would use a solid line versus a dashed line. So the equal to represents inclusion. You would use a solid line for those, and the less than or greater than is exclusion, and you would use a dashed line there. So in this case, we would use a solid line. So this is a parabola shifted down 1 unit, and it has a solid line. So the value multiplying x squared is 1. So if I go over 1 and up 1 from the vertex, that'll give me a couple of additional points just to kind of get things determined there, which how spread out it's going to be. And lastly, I could need to know if I need to shade the inside of the parabola or the outside of the parabola. Luckily, the origin is very easy to see as one side or the other. So I'll plug the origin into this inequality. The 0, or the y value is 0 of that coordinate, and the x is as well. So we get 0 is less than or equal to -1. But that's not true. That's a false statement because 0 is bigger than -1. So what that means is I actually need to shade the part of this region that's on the outside of this parabola. So that region right there. Okay, so this is certainly a different set of line equations, but the way we do them is the same. So the first line equation is y is greater than x minus 2. So you want to choose a dashed line or a solid line based off of the inequality. So we want a dashed line. Then what I would recommend is pick the point that is your y-intercept, so -2. And then we have a slope of +1. So then up 1 over 1, that gives me another point on the line. I'm done graphing the line. Now I just move my pencil here, that's on screen, into one side or the other. And that's where you just have to do the same sort of test to decide which way it's going to go. So if you choose the origin and plug it into this equation, you would get 0 is greater than -2. Since that's a true statement, just click there, and now that will stay shaded, and you finished graphing that line. So then the other line, y is less than -1/2 plus 1, it's also a dashed line, has a y-intercept of +1, and a slope of -1/2, so go down 1 and over 2. And then you have to decide which side of the line you want to graph or shade. So we'll try the origin again. So that would say, if you plugged in the origin here, that would be 0 is less than 1, which would be a true statement. So there you go. Now when you click, it will stay and you've graphed it. So at this point, the overlapping regions, which are in purplish here, that's the solution region for the system. So if I submit this now, there we go.